Let's go! I have a microphone now. Look at me, look at me. Well, I've changed the name of the channel. And, I mean, I don't think I'm super happy with the name. Headless Chicken. Yeah. That was so much better. But I want to do something a little bit different. I want to tell stories and, you know, just do videos like this one where I sort of make my opinion on where a story should have went or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I've put something on the community thing to say, what do you think the new avatar's name should be? This guy? This like chicken calling thing? Yeah, what should that be? Because I've clocked these. I don't know what that should be, but we're gonna get on to the video's topic. Got a little Dragon Ball gif for you to look at. Pew, pew, pew. Be distracted. Be distracted. Well. Yeah. This was sort of brought up by a friend being like, yeah, he said like that he really, you know, he likes Dragon Ball, and I disagree with that. No, don't flail me or whatever, but I do. You know, it was like proper fun, but some parts of it were just dragged it down and all of that. So yeah, but the one thing that I think everyone can agree with is Dragon Ball Super. It's really bad. It's not the best, you know, because what it did, it took, you know, Goku, and it said he's young again, and it took it back to a point in the story where, you know, the writer sort of just prefers to write about, but it doesn't, you know, it sort of misses the point, because the thing that I think really propelled Dragon Ball Z was the more serious moments, like you know, the thing that first turned him Super Saiyan was Frieza killing Krillin, whatever his name is, and you know, you sort of lose a lot of that power by reviving him and by doing all of this stuff that sort of takes that away. And the thing is, it can still be a pretty interesting story, you know. It can still have a lot of those elements that, you know, what am I saying? It, you know, it can still have like the goofy elements. It can still have the jokey parts. It can still be fun, you know, without having to get rid of these very serious points that I think really made it a thing, you know. Like, I think everyone when they was younger watched, you know, Goku go Super Saiyan for the first time, and they were like, whoa. Yeah, it was crazy. And what's the point of this? Why am I saying it? Super sort of took away what they could have done, you know. They sort of shunned it down. They took away this whole serious potential they could have had, you know. Even like in the Boo saga, you know, like the the Boo fight was just confusing. I don't know if other people have that thought, but I think, you know, the first phase of the fight was just him fighting Boo after he was created by the Margin Wizard or whatever it was, and then it was like, no, no, you know, Boo's actually a good guy. But then they sort of chucked in evil Boo, and then evil Boo, I think, ate good Boo, and then it was Super Boo, and then it transformed into Kid Boo. And I think the escalation of that thing just didn't make sense to me. It just sort of seemed silly, because I think in their head, in the mangaka's head, they were like, yes, let's make this big evil Boo, and then we're like, the design is round and very cute. He's probably gonna be a good guy. How am I gonna make him bad? Either way, what I would say, instead of doing this thing where you sort of go back in time so that you can, you know, go back to when the power levels were lower and when all of, you know, it was lower stakes and all of this and that. What they could have done is do something that they sort of set up, you know. Goku has kids. He has Gohan, Gotenks, you know, the whole lot of them. And, you know, they have the Z Fighters, but they just don't use them. They don't use the rest of the cast, really. You know, Vegeta and Goku, they're like the same person, really. Like, they just show up like they're such a tag team, power level wise and like character wise, that like they're most likely gonna be there in most situations. So I see like a divergent path, really. I see a way that it could have went that is very different from the way that it has gone. And that is, instead of making Goku a kid, which I'm still dumbfounded by that, because why? Like there's so many more serious aspects that are just lost because you made him a kid again. Either way, what I'd say is just let Goku get older. And I know it's kind of like because Goku is, you know, a pretty childish character, really. He's very, I don't know what to say, but he still does have like this devil in him. He has this aspect of his character where he's always being driven by power, by being stronger and all of that. And like though he hasn't really, they didn't really tap into much of like a mature side of him, other than like, you know, his transformation, his initial transformation into Super Saiyan. Like, they didn't really, like, the whole thing with Chi-Chi, you know, his wife, like, he's so completely unresponsible with her. I think everyone knows this about Dragon Ball, but, you know, it is pretty blatant that, like, he doesn't really show that much care for when his wife says, hey, can you please not go to another planet where there's a god? Or, you know, some sort of absurd power. Can you please not fight that person? But he just doesn't care. He's going, and he's gonna beat up the god. So you could let's say after the Boo saga, I don't know what really comes after that, but like, let's say after he fights Boo, or maybe even in that sort of era, he could have a chat with, like, when does Bardock come in? I don't know that much about Dragon Ball. I'm just gonna say that. But I'll speed up now. I'm being slow. What would happen in this alternate version, in maybe the Boo Saga or something like that, let's say someone tells him, maybe just like at the end in like a cutaway or something, that like he's sort of no, maybe a little bit after that, he uses a move that he has known since, you know, the original Dragon Ball. You know, maybe it's some sort of ki blast. It could be just like some sort of ki blast ability that he used to sort of spam at enemies in the first sort of seasons of the original Dragon Ball. And yet, he can't use it anymore because of how absurd his bloody power levels are. He just can't tap into that ability. And then, you know, there's other things start to happen. For example, this guy, Hercule, and also, you know, this guy, Gohan, you know, as the sane man with Hercule, you know, his power level starts to go, I mean, not him, his power level and her power level starts to shoot up, you know, what's it, Piccolo also gets stronger. A lot of things happen around the world because, well, he solved the big problem with Boo and all of that. By the way, Saiyan Men, I think, are one of my sort of favourite additions to Dragon Ball, not because of what they did, but because of what they could have done. Because, like, they're very underused, and yet it's a pretty good symbol of sort of the youth, with Gohan and I think Videl being able to sort of create this cultural thing, like, across the entire planet, that they're like the strongest, and, you know, having like this influence and all of that. So, what would happen? He'd sort of get like, what am I saying? The Z fighters and these two, they are going to be the ones that sort of are able to have most of the action in this period. Like, all the villains aren't like these world-destroying threats. In fact, they're probably not like, you know, they're not like Ultra Instinct level. I mean, like, I should say, like, this sort of, he's sort of I'm sort of trying to figure out which order I should go in. So I should say that this sort of progresses with through like where Super would have went, because I have seen the Broly movie and the Beerus film, so it sort of is in between the time, because I'm pretty sure Super is in between the Buu Saga and the films. And also, I don't know what happens in Dragon Ball Z Kai, really. So, this is sort of going on what I know, and sort of saying what I would have put instead of Dragon Ball Super. So, you know, they sort of, the power levels go up a little bit faster because there's not that like rehashing thing going on with Super. And so Gohan I mean Goku at this point would have Ultra Instinct. Let's say that it's like a year after the Buu Saga. What would happen, I think, let's say somewhere along the way, he meets, what's his name? Oh, sorry. He meets Bardock, you know, his dad. Let's say he says something like, let's just abbreviate it, like, a man grows out a beard in his like dying days to like show what he can give before he's gone, or something like that. I'm not sure, but or like it could even be like a joking thing where like Chi-Chi's like says he should have a beard or something. I don't know, because he's at this point he's getting a little bit older since he's been fighting for so long. I just think because the stories went for this long and he's like naturally aged along the whole way, he should continue to naturally age. Yeah, he defeats some super evil but then, you know, Gohan learns like, I guess, something along the lines of this. Like, I guess he would have it at this point. I have progressed it very fast, but you know what I'm saying. You know, this guy, he gets to his beast form, and he's sort of yeah, he's sort of you know, he definitely surpasses Goku. sorry, I'm being slow and whatever, but yeah, and I'm finding it difficult to express what was in my brain. But yeah, Goku, he's like what would it be, like a granddad at this point? Yeah, I guess so. It would sort of make sense. Like, looks old enough or whatever. And he grows out a beard, and well, these guys are a part of this like super duper group where they sort of present themselves to the world and are, they destroy some sort of evil, some sort of power, and defeat like this super powerful whatever. But there's one time where they need someone to help them, particularly Goku, or Goku, and they want another person to be like a part of the team, and he sort of reluctantly is like, okay, and I guess he wears like a dark version of this, or something similar. Yeah, let's say like a dark version, because he's like he's sort of pretending to be the one that charges up like this super powerful move, when in reality he's just that powerful. Though, so I guess he wouldn't, Gohan wouldn't have the beast form at this point. I'm sort of jumping around. Either way, he does that a bit. He sort of helps out, and but Goku doesn't really like Mr. Satan. I think Mr. Satan sort of antagonizes Goku a little bit in this sort of part, in this sort of story, and he's sort of, he doesn't really antagonize Goku. He's just very obnoxious and in his face and whatever. He doesn't mean any sort of harm against him. And so, let's say, because Goku at this point hasn't really had any action in like years, really, like ages, because this is pretty separate from the main story. And what he does, I recognize that this is a hard sell, but like, let's say Bardock is like goes to like a bar or something, and he says to Goku to like go there because he's like, what, you've never had a drink? You never had a drink? What? You're like 40 or something? And Goku was like, okay, I'll see you. Not gonna drink anything though. But he gets there and they have a good time and all of that. Though the whole time he's there, the one thing that's on his mind is how sometimes there are some of his moveset that he can't really perform properly. And maybe he says that to him, but maybe he was too drunk and he didn't understand it, Bardock. He didn't get what he said. And so he sort of walks off. Goku. He's sort of wakes up the next day and he has a chat with Gohan and whatever. He's feeling a little bit down on life and that, just because like I guess that's what alcohol does to you. And then after that he sort of tries to transform into Ultra Instinct, just like in space, but he can't. And he just realizes that like his bones don't feel as strong as they used to. His beard is a little bit fuller, but not completely. And then one night he sort of starts drinking again, and he sort of. By the way, it's not going to be this depressing all the time. It's going to be like a slice of life thing where he sort of has a little bit of a chat with Gohan, and they play by like flying around in fields and stuff, and it sort of cuts to the next night or whatever. And yeah, Goku Goku gets a little tipsy, and he destroys some things because he feels he's very in touch with like how his body works and all of that, and he feels like it's all sort of gonna end for him. Well, not in that way, but like physically, there's gonna be some sort of threat in the future, but he's not gonna be able to use the full power that he knows he has. And because he does have that sort of demon inside of him for strength and all of that. And what he does, he goes to Hercule's house, this guy, Hercule. And I don't know if this is canon or not. I don't think this is canon, but he gives him a little bit of his power, and his crazed, drunken stupor. He gives him a little bit of his power, like, because he's sort of simultaneously mad at him, but also is like, he wants to give him some of himself to see, because Hercule is the main spotlight. Everyone thinks that he's the one that's actually powerful and the one that deserves to be recognized and the one that saved the world. Whereas Goku, yeah, sure, he saved the world in the past, I think, and everyone recognized him for that. But that was a very long time ago. They sort of see him as a war veteran, which I think would be one of the things that sort of set this off. They sort of said, hey, like, yeah, there's no real need for someone as absurdly powerful as you, so you can sort of just retire now. I mean, they wouldn't say retire yet, but like, or like, let's say like just before this happens, he gets retired from his super duper world saving sea fighter-ness, or just someone says, you aren't really, you can retire, sort of thing. And yeah, Hercule sort of takes this power, and he's actually able to use it, because, you know, what he can do, he can use, like, you know how Dragon Fist has the yellow gold dragon appear. He can sort of summon its shadow, because how his abilities work, like, Goku powers up by wanting to become stronger, and the thing is, Hercule doesn't want to become the strongest there ever was. He wants to fulfill the image of him that other people see, which I know, that might be a bit of a generous look on how Hercule sees the world. Like, he might just be a very greedy person, but I don't really think that's how it is. I think, like, deep inside, he just really wants to fulfill other people's expectations of him. Like, after he supposedly defeated Cell, or Boo, was it? Boo? I think it was Boo. Yeah, that's how his sort of power works. He wants to be able to show the world the thing that they want to see, because that's like his way of doing things. And like, yeah, I'll sort of speed it up now. He sort of learns a lot of things. He becomes, like, sort of slowly throughout the story, he gets more and more, like, you can see more and more of how he actually wants to follow in Goku's footsteps, because they have they start having like a pretty in-depth relationship, like genuine relationship. Hercule wants to be like Goku because Goku sort of opened up to him about the things that he's done in his past. And, Hercule keeps getting stronger and stronger, and, the Z fighters keep getting stronger and stronger, and Goku starts to lose more and more of his abilities. And I think this is the main reason why I think this would be a better version, because he will go backwards with his abilities. Like, he won't be able to use Ultra Instinct, but Super Saiyan Blue would be absurdly powerful. Not because he can be particularly good at it or whatever. He's not particularly powerful, but what he can do, he'll be able to use it in different ways. He'll have things like Kaioken, like Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, or he'll be able to tap into a certain side of the Super Saiyan Blue, or be able to what was the thing? There was a very specific thing that I was thinking of. I can't remember, but there would be more complications with it, more ways of using these different transformations. Like Super Saiyan 3 was completely useless. It was just more power, and it, other than that, was just useless. It was so slow and so sort of energy draining that being in that form for very long would just basically bake you. And there are different versions of forms. Like back in the day, there was Super Saiyan, Mastered Super Saiyan, because there was normal Super Saiyan, and then there was the Mastered version. You could have loads of different versions, like one that's for speed, one that's for specific moves or specific potentials or whatever, and you could slowly decrease the power that Goku can have, while making the power that Goku has more unique and more there could be more functions for every different thing. Like, he can be more skilled rather than having to just be the fastest thing in the universe. He can have all these things, and he'd get older and older as the story would go on. I think the main reason why I like this is because Goku with a full white beard with a red cape on, or maybe a black cape or something like that, just shirtless. I think that image is very cool, because I had a dream when I was younger where Goku was stuck on planet Namek right before it was going to blow up, and he was searching for a spaceship, and he was just about to get off the planet, but he he dies. And I think like that sort of serious thing is very good for Dragon Ball, because its characters and a lot of its themes and stuff aren't that. They're very goofy and whatever, but they still have character writing that's good enough to go into that area. And yeah, I think eventually, oh yeah, and I would say, Master Roshi, he I don't know, he probably, I think, as like an emotional beat, he'd die of old age at this point. Even though he said he'd drunk out of the fountain of youth, maybe that was a lie. Maybe that was completely incorrect. And, he had just been living for so long from simply just being an incredibly strong human being, an incredibly healthy person, and yeah, I think I'd call this like Goku, Son of Earth, or something like that. And I could make like a comic out of it or something, because it isn't as sort of depressing as it would seem, I would say. Because they did sort of lean into it with this whole new generation thing. Like, there could be like these forces outside of Goku's control because of this new generation that was spurted from this guy, Mr. Satan. Yeah. I'm gonna be making audiobooks on the channel. Like, just free. I make free audiobooks, so if you wanna watch that, then do. I'll see you in the next one. Also, yeah, I do want to change my name to something that better suits the channel, so comment that or whatever. Bye bye.